Well, for more on China's talent issue, I'm joined by Marc A. founder of Caracal Global, a global communications, content and commerce strategy firm. He's also former communications director for the U.S.-China Business Council. Welcome back to the show.
Great to be here.
So we're seeing more Chinese students who were studying abroad returning back to China. What's driving that trend?
I think there's two combinations. Obviously, the Chinese marketplace is very exciting. It's arguably one of the fastest growing markets in the world. Companies there are spending more and more money. You saw today Alibaba committed $15 billion to R&D research. That's very tempting. Companies like Musical.ly are developing fun apps that people are playing great video games. So it's a very exciting time. You can see why there'd be a draw to go back.
Now, tell us about the sort of opportunities that returnees are really seeking when they are deciding to go back.
I think is it the timing of the market? You heard in the package, I have a new idea, can I execute it here? Maybe the competition is easier, maybe I can get access to easier funds. I think it's a very kind of 101 MBA kind of approach to business. Is this a good place to set up shop? And a lot of people are saying yes.
Now, how much of that should be reliant on kind of going to start your own business as opposed to going to get a job and relying on the private sector?
I think going forward, it's going to be much more competitive around the world for the best talent. There's no doubt that entrepreneurs and business leaders are going to look for the best market. So I think a combination of private business, government incentives, the ecosystem, what kind of quality of life, culture, access to universities, I think the whole package will be really critical going forward.
So then looking at China's brain drain, what are the industries that have been most affected?
I think for a long time, China's been an assembly economy, has kind of lacked innovation, hasn't had the most forward-thinking marketing companies. So I think where you're seeing a big push is into biotech, technology. I think what China has announced in terms of the electrical vehicle mandate will be super interesting and really shape the industry, not only in China, but around the world.
Now, we know that the US, along with other countries like Australia and New Zealand, are really tightening their work visa and immigration rules. So in terms of how that's affecting where Chinese talent decides to go or whether it decides to stay at home, how much of an impact is that having?
Well, I think if you don't feel welcome, you might want to go home. So I think a combination of what is being said in nations' capitals, DC, Australia, New Zealand will certainly be interesting. But also, is there an ecosystem? Is there a product that can help you develop lifelong learning skills to make you feel more comfortable? I think as Chinese students come to the United States, oftentimes they're not fully prepared to study in America. So are there tools in place to help them succeed, not only in college, but when they graduate from school? And companies here in the US, actually one I'm working with, is actually trying to figure out this problem right now to help students succeed and stay here for the long run.
Now, we know that when it comes to technology, Chinese people are very early adopters of a lot of the cutting-edge technology. Is most of the focus then on tech, or can we expect other sectors to also flourish from this reverse brain drain?
Well, I think tech is very cool and hip, and it's impressive to say you're in that. But I think if you look at what's being done in the medical space, what's done in financial fintech, I think automotive is going to be critical, infrastructure and logistics. So I think technology may get all the buzz and some of the excitement, but there are clearly other industries from healthcare to automotive that'll be critical.
So then if you look at what some of the most effective measures could be if you're really trying to retain talent in China, what could some of those options be?
I would look, when I talk to businesses, you got to really think about the entire ecosystem. I think it's going to become more and more competitive. People are much more mobile. They have much more access to information. So if you have a certain skill set, you can literally work anywhere in the world. So quality of life, access to universities, sporting events, those kind of things I think would be really critical. And also, how committed are companies to investing in your success? I think more and more students, especially I teach at George Washington University, and you're seeing more and more students that want access to lifelong learning. They realize a university degree is great, but they're going to need to develop skills throughout their entire career. So companies and communities that can provide that will be really critical going forward.
Well, hopefully they will heed your advice. Thank you so much. Good to have you on. Marc A. founder of Caracal Global and former communications director for the US-China Business Council.